Hi there, and welcome to the Cult of Cinema After Dark. This is the primer edition and probably the most important one going forward if you're going to be in the Cult Cinema After Dark Club, as well as my regular Cult Cinema. Now, it is not exactly what you think, and there's a lot more to it than you would imagine. Obviously, I do a lot of English cinema stuff. I do stuff on Severin and that, and a lot of other companies. So we're going to be looking at a lot of those companies within the Cult Cinema After Dark kind of the whole umbrella of Cult Cinema After Dark. First off, I want to say thank you to all my Patreon supporters out there and to all the people that come in there. This is Super Chat enabled today, and I'll tell you, like, it's always Super Chat enabled, but it's more important today because this is probably going to be demonetized because of the type of video it is. And I'll tell you why. Because we're talking about the Cult Cinema After Dark stuff. And that is going to be interesting. What we're going to do tonight is we are going to I'm going to give you guys a primer list, and I think I'm going to do this with all of my portion of videos coming up. So basically, you're going to get a watch list. Hey there, Cinematech. You're going to get a watch list of some different films and directors. You're going to get an idea of what's coming up. We're going to dive deep. I got some allergies during it's the season. You're gonna get like stuff from every company, movies, directors, things you're gonna look into. This is the big sneak peek, and this gets you ahead of the class. So if people miss out, hey there, Chris, on the Cult Cinema After Dark primer, then they're missing out a lot because we're going to be looking at films that you can watch ahead of time that'll get you in the know before we start it out. Hey there, John. Welcome. Welcome to the Cult Cinema After Dark. Obviously, this one is not for the kiddies. It is one that I've been wanting to do for a while. I had a couple of plans in mind for tonight. I thought we'd do an Argento video. I thought I'd be doing a kind of like a Franco type of thing, and I was going to do one on the Taboo films. Now, just to let you know, the Taboo series and the Jess Franco series, those are earmarked specifically for the Cult Cinema After Dark Club. So if you're in that part, then fantastic, because we're going to be looking at a lot of that stuff tonight. We're going to be looking at a lot of different directors, a lot of different films. Hey, Vinny, welcome, man. Haven't seen you around lately. I've been kind of worried about you, actually. I always look for your stuff, and I get worried when I don't see it. Hey there, Joseph. Hey, Dave. Welcome to the After Dark Cult. I like that. It's kind of Raven-like. If anybody remembers, like wrestling. There's a wrestler by the name of Raven. He kind of did this thing. Anyway. So the way we're going to start this, and you guys can decide, hey, I want to start this. Well, I can just do some free flow talking first, but I got a bunch of Blu-rays and DVDs here that are recommendations for you to check out if you can, at least some of these, because it is going to come into what we're going to do. It is going to make, you're ahead of the game. You're ahead of the curve if you've seen some of these. Well, Man from Deep River Cinematic, that's the original. That's the first one. This kind of like starts the cannibal films. It's probably one of the ones I like best, and the reason being is because it is tamer. And I do think it has a better story than a lot of them. Hey there, Alan. Welcome to Cult of Cinema After Dark. Hopefully we'll get a few people here today, because it's going to be an important one. Hi, William. So who here kind of thinks they know or have an idea what the COC After Dark is going to be? That sounds wrong. Cult Cinema After Dark. CC After Dark. CCAD. Don't all jump in at once, though. I'm going to open up my thing because I want to see your comments tonight, and I hope that we get a lot of people in here tonight. This is an important video for me. No clue. See, that's a comment that I like because it's honest. All right. So the Cult of Cinema After Dark is basically, we're going to be dealing with some more titles that would have more of a, there's a reason for that, actually, Alan. More of an adult slant to them. Now, often people think an adult slant, okay, that means all X-rated titles. X-rated titles will be included in the Cult of Cinema After Dark at times, and you'll know ahead of time. But it's not just that. if you want to see Franco stuff, and if you want to see some of the other like of the Mondo Macabre and stuff like that, that is going to be in this Cult Cinema After Dark umbrella. So don't think it's just going to be adult cinema. That was, I think, one of the things that put some people off initially when I said, hey, you know what, I'm going to do a Cult Cinema After Dark. And I had like 5 or 6 people say, oh, that sounds interesting. And I had 8 or 9 people say, I'm not quite sure. Hopefully I can open up your minds to a lot of different directors. We're going to be looking at people like Andy Sedaris. We're going to look at Tinto Brass. We are going to look into Jess Franco. And he has done a lot of work, whether it be horror. And we're going to just look into some different stuff that is adult in other ways as well. And that doesn't mean in like in a sexy time type ways. It means it's going to be like some more serious, deeper films. Oh yeah, Super Vixens as well. Not one, that's not super serious deep one, but we're going to be looking at some of the more serious films out there as well. So we'll look into a lot of different genres. It's going to deal a lot with the and stuff like that. I'm definitely going to finally get to talk with Russ Meyer and Tinto Brass. I'm going to be able to talk with Tinto Brass and Andy Sedaris. I'm going to talk with Jess Franco, and I know a lot of like my regular viewers want the Jess Franco stuff. So, I got you. If you want to see that type of stuff, and you want to see Andy Sedaris, you want to see some of the actiony stuff, it's these. These are the videos you're going to have to watch. So, there you go. I literally have a bunch of videos to show you guys to give an idea. And some stuff that you can watch if you want to watch, if you got it, or if like you're home right now. A lot of us are home right now with like, and we got like, you know, we're buying some stuff online. I'm going to give you some stuff that you can watch, or some stuff you might be able to check out, whether it be a local library, if you want to go buy it, if you want to go like look for it online. It's a neat way to go with it. So without further ado, I'm going to get into some of these here. And, oh yeah, Sedaris, definitely, Dave. Because that's the thing, and that's the kind of the delineation that I want to talk about. I'm using that term really wrong right now. But basically, it's going to deal with a lot of different stuff. Bruno Mattei is going to be talked about in here. So yes, Cult Cinema After Dark is going to be a very important part of this channel. For those that are wondering what else is going on this channel, did I splurge on anything special? Well, I did get a couple things from Unobstructed's view, and it's specifically for this. I don't have them here yet, unfortunately, but I got a couple sets that are coming. One is a Cult Epic set that was more recently came out last year. One was a out of print set from Jess Franco. So we have some definitely unique stuff. Also coming up is my director series, which I'll be doing, and I'm going to be like focusing on different directors, and I'll be going through with top 10 list ranking videos, and I'll deep dive in the directors as much as possible. I will be doing a few like review type of ones, and there's a lot more coming. Yeah, delivery times are much slower right now. That's why the Jess Franco one, Joseph, is going to be a little bit down the road, because it's going to be a couple weeks away, which is good because it lets me like delve into the Jess Franco stuff that I got around here. So without further ado, let's dive into some of these films here. I'll give you some ideas of stuff that you can check out, and some of it's actually fairly cheap. Other ones, Ed Danucci, welcome, man. Cult Cinema After Dark. So and some of these are definitely going to be your bag, hopefully. So right at the gate, this one was actually a very inexpensive one to get. They're now putting all of these out on Blu-ray from Mill Creek. This is a Mill Creek set. Hey there, Eric. And it is the Girls, Guns, and G-Strings. Hey there, Javid. Collection. So this is definitely going to be a cool one. Andy Sedaris is an interesting, Dave knows, is an interesting person to talk about. Actually, most recently, I've noticed that people have started to talk about Andy Sedaris. I'm guessing that's because there's been like Blu-ray sets coming out. Blu-rays are coming out from Mill Creek about Andy Sedaris, and people are finally starting to rediscover him. Andy Sedaris was a director. He passed away. He actually worked the entire time with Amy Sedaris, his wife, and making these films. They would be action films. There'd usually be one bankable name star in the production, along with a lot of big-breasted girls like Julie Strain, many of the other cute like penthouse like playmates and stuff like that. But it would focus. Well, there would be nudity in it, of course, but it will focus high on the on the action aspect. And Annie Sedaris, a lot of films have these WTF moments that are great for a group of people. It's not something that's going to be like super, like this is not a. There's never going to be triple X or anything like that. It's nothing that you're going to won't be able to sit down and watch kind of conflict with some friends over a couple of drinks. There's going to be times where you're going to be looking at a guy with a rocket launcher shooting a blow-up doll out of the air while he also blows up a skateboarding bad guy. I'm not joking. This is the world of Andy Sedaris that we're talking about, and it is going to be glorious, and we are going to dive deep into the world of Andy Sedaris. There are a bunch of Mill Creek Blu-rays out if you want to go the Blu-ray route. If you want to get an Andy Sedaris collection for fairly cheap, Girls, Guns, and G-Strings ran me $5. This is what I paid for this one, $5. There are 12 Andy Sedaris films on here. There are hidden features. They don't tell you, but there are hidden features on here for thing. And Rich, you know this then. There's like commentaries on here. There's like hidden like things with like introductions with Julie Strain and Andy Sedaris himself like talking about the films as well. So this is actually kind of a cool one. I love the fact that there's kind of like there's all kinds of introductions and commentaries on here that people don't even realize. Definitely worth checking out. We'll be doing an Andy Sedaris video. We may have to do it in a couple videos because he does have quite a few films that we're going to look at. We're also going to be looking at the work of Sybil Danning. So, Sybil Danning, shown right here. Of course, if you've watched the Rob Zombie films, she's in a few of those, including she was the nurse in Rob Zombie's Halloween. Actually, she's the one that gets killed. Spoiler alert. But Sybil Danning was one of those kind of like these sexploitation action stars. She did a bunch of movies. She did things. There's Amazon Women on the Moon. That's got Sybil Danning in it. She did a whole line of like action movies where she, much in like Elvira would do like her kind of her movie macabre, like the ones that would in the big boxes that would come out, the midnight videos, whatever they're called. Then Sybil Danning would have her dressed up like in an action kind of like outfit, and they'd be like kind of like cool low budget action films. So we are going to look at the works of Sybil Danning. She's done Giallo films. She's done like these type here, like They're Playing with Fire. We're going to look at her action series that she put out, and going to dive deep into the world of Sybil Danning, which is actually extremely interesting. She's done a lot of films to look into, and that one's going to definitely take a while. They're Playing with Fire is a particular favorite of mine. It's a weird little one concoction, part sexploitation, part slasher, part Giallo, yet with an odd film that looks like a regular Porky's one when you see it. What I think is going to release the washing machine? Severin. If anybody released that, it's going to be Severin. That's what I'm going with. But there you go. They're Playing with Fire. Sybil Danning. In general, we're going to be looking at her, of course, probably famous around collector's parts for Howling 2, where she is she's the queen werewolf. And that infamous scene that she did that gets played ad nauseum at the end of Howling 2 when they do the music video. This is going to be a harder find. But if you got it, awesomeness. This was put out by Impulse Pictures, which I think that's Synapse, right? Impulse Pictures. Not quite sure. I don't have a lot of their stuff. But we're going to look into the slightly kind of the raunchier side and the weirder side of Canadian stuff and Canucksploitation as well. So we will be looking into movies like this one right here. Sexcula. Yes, this is a film. It's weird. It is fun. It is Canadian erotic horror hybrid with a Marilyn Chambers lookalike, a gorilla. You have it? Awesome, David Joseph, because this is going to be one of the ones that we're going to be looking into. I told you there's going to be like a wide breadth of films in this series. And I'll be honest with you, it's one that I'm this here idea, the director series and the Call to Cinema After Dark series of videos that I'm going to be doing have have kind of revitalized and got me excited about making some of these videos. So I hope that it's going to make you guys excited as well, because I really want to go into this and my heart is in it. So I hope you guys are going to be there with me. Definitely a cool one. Transfer from the rare theatrical print stored in the basement of the Library of Art and Archives of Canada. So definitely a cool one. There's actually, I'm not even joking here, a little little cartoon on the inside of this one. So if you can track this one, there's a little kind of cartoon called Rick Tremblay's Motion Picture Purgatory, section 1974. Hey there, Brian. But that's the thing, it's the only way you can find it. One of these days, hopefully, if you ever find a really good one of it. I got to thank Brian, too, for putting up my latest video on Facebook. I really, truly appreciate that. People don't do that very often when it comes to my stuff. I'm definitely lax on doing it myself, so I thank you. I'm not sure if you're still here, Cubic Lover, but definitely ones to look into. Now I'm on Macabre release, and it's going to be an important Mon Macabre release, because I told you we're going to be looking at Jess Franco's work, and this is going to be an important one to look into. So this is The Night Has 1,000 Desires. It is, it's got Lena Romay, who was Jess Franco's muse. Well, Soledad Miranda and Lena Romay over the years were the two muses of Jess Franco, and I'm actually utterly fascinated with. Thank you, Ryan. I actually really appreciate that. I missed this stream. Damn, I missed the stream. Yeah, it's different over there, isn't it? Because I really like his stuff. If you ever talk to him, let him know. I'm actually a big fan of his work. What's really good about this one, aside from the fact that this is a really cool, underrated Jess Franco film, is that there is a little, like, 24-minute documentary on here on Jess Franco's work. There was a series that came out called Erotica, and every episode of Erotica dealt with a different cult director. Whether it be like Jess Franco, or if it was dealing with like the Spanish or the Mexican like wrestling movies, you know, the El Santos and stuff. So Erotica had a bunch of episodes, and after Erotica, I think then there was one called Mondo Macabre. Ironically, was the title of the series that it did. So if you've never seen an episode of Erotica, it's not erotic. It's not what it is. It just deals with cult stuff, like cult directors, and they could deal with anything from like El Santo to Jess Franco to just some different, from exploitation, different weird kind of stuff. And they give good kind of bite-sized overviews, running anywhere between 24 to 30 minutes long. So just enough to whet your appetite. Hey, Mark, welcome. We are talking about the cult cinema after dark, and hopefully that's something that everybody in here is going to be excited about. Have I seen Culture Dog stuff? I gotta check, man, because that name, why is it not ringing a bell to me? If I'm not on it, if I'm not subscribed, I will be subscribed after this. What you're getting tonight, guys, is you're getting a watch list. You're getting like homework stuff to look into, but good homework, fun homework, and an idea of what's coming up in the After Dark series. I'll be doing a primer list later on in the next week or so for the director series as well, and maybe for the Giallo series, because I am planning to do a Giallo series too. Some of the After Dark stuff is going to cross over with that though, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Jess Franco's one of those guys, I'll be honest with you, Brian, he's acquired taste. I think Jess Franco's work is a lot better than a lot of critics give him credit for. That he's definitely underrated. Welcome back, Dave. This is one to look into. Let's be on the quiz. I thought the best way. There are actually a few extras on the Harryhausen documentary. I know, because I bought the Arrow like UK edition of it when it initially came out, before they put out the US edition. And the UK edition, when it originally came out, it had like a slipcover too, which is actually kind of cool. I was actually saw Films at Home video earlier today. I'd let them know. It looks like Linda Lovelace. This is actually Lena Romay. She was, her and Jess Franco, they were a couple. And after she passed, oh yeah, Jab, don't worry, Tinto Brass is a favorite of mine, so we're going to get into that as well. After she passed, I think the next year, it might have been the next year or so, Jess Franco passed too. They were very inseparable. And we'll get into Lena Romay. There will be special, we're going to do a Jess Franco one, but I think Lena Romay is going to deserve her own episode. So because she did stuff outside of Jess Franco as well. And there'll be crossover, but I would definitely be talking about both of them. So in the After Dark series, we're not just going to get into directors, we're going to get certain actors and actresses as well. And that's going to be interesting. We are going to look at Nikkatsu. And the Nikkatsu series of films. And I don't mean the Nikkatsu Noir films. They did, there's some that I love to have, Javid. They're especially the recent ones. They put out a recent bundle, which I would have killed for. But this one here is Nikkatsu Cinema Sins of Sister Lucia. It is an Asian, Japanese actually, non-exploitation film, Nikkatsu film. And if you've ever seen, Synapse has put out a lot of Nikkatsu stuff, a ton of it actually. So you can go back and look at their earlier stuff to see, to see some of that. And if you're interested, we also will do a video on non-exploitation as well. And although I don't have it right here with me right now, there is a one from Kino Lorber that they put out. His name's escaped me right now, but I'll remember it before this video is over. That I do recommend for that particular video. And right now, I'll be honest with you, do you have the adult version of Alice in Wonderland? I don't have that actually. It seems interesting though. The more feedback you guys can give me as I'm doing this video, the more important it is, because this is a big thing for me, and I want to know what you guys are interested in, what things are piquing your interest, what things you're not quite so sure about, what things you're on the fence about. That's what I have to know, and this is what a primer video is for. This is how it helps me carve and make this series on my channel going forward. So excellent, thank you. No, it's perfectly fine. Joe D'Amato Joe D'Amato did a bunch, Jabbit. So you're throwing up some great names and names that I'm going to be looking into. Joe D'Amato is definitely one of them. And when I say Joe D'Amato, I'm going to look at both of his work. He obviously did some X-rated stuff, especially with Rocco Siffredi, but he did a lot of really cool horror stuff as well. I'm a big fan of D'Amato's work. We're going to be looking into his work as well. Frank Cars, get your Mandy online. Mondo Macabre is going to be a good place to check for some of the stuff. There's another Jess Franco called Sinner, Secret Diary of a Nymphomaniac. This is actually a pretty good one. Not a happy film, I'll tell you that much right now. There's definitely some gorgeous girls in it. But it's, if I remember this one correctly, John Leslie, I'll be definitely looking at some of the directors, some of the actors there. John Leslie, I will be looking into Jamie Gillis, who I'm a very big fan of. I think he's an incredible actor, especially for the type of cinema that he did, and a very dark actor. I do want to do some episodes where there's going to be a bit of research here, so I'm going to be talking about their behind the scenes, and some of their lives, and some of the insane stuff that went on. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. Hopefully, it's going to be a little bit illuminating as well. Surgery and Movies collection. I'll do that. That's actually good. John Leslie did direct too. So obviously, like a lot of them, he did like that. Now we will also look into Greek cinema, and the the biggest star film is there's the Greek cinema put up by Mondo Macabre, and these are like Greek giallos. The one thing that Greek cinema had to have, kind of a Hays Code type of thing, is that the bad guys cannot get away with it. The Greek cinema cannot end with bad guys just, oh look, I failed you all. No, in Greek cinema, bad guys have to get their comeuppance in some way or another. So even in giallo. So we're going to have some fun with that. We're going to look into some of those films. There's a bunch of them, but if you ever get a chance to get either The Wife Killer or Tango Perversion, I really recommend Tango Perversion actually. Did you watch? How is Dangerous Cargo, Eric? I had that one in my basket actually a while back. I'm a huge fan of Deborah Shelton, just to let you know. So that's obviously a big reason for me definitely picking up Dangerous Cargo. I actually got Deborah Shelton. That's her big one. No, not all like good writing, not even remotely. Deborah Shelton was, she was in Body Double, Brian De Palma's Body Double, of course, Dallas, and a bunch of other things. But in the movie, Dangerous Cargo, yeah, quite a bit, if I'm right, isn't it, Eric? Yeah, she has gorgeous, gorgeous eyes. Probably some of those beautiful eyes that you're ever going to see off any actress. Yeah, so I'm excited about Dangerous Cargo and getting that one down the road. One documentary I'm going to put in your watch list, and it's a given that this is going to, because we're going to be talking about like some of the stuff, some of the new. We'll do an episode on Nudie Cuties and stuff like that as well. We'll do an episode with the David Friedman style stuff. So that sexploitation is going to be your go-to for this type of stuff. Definitely worth checking out. So if you've never seen this one, it's a great documentary. It's put up by Severin Films. I'm going to say at this point, I want to say like, share, subscribe. I know Brian's shared. At any time that you put a like on my video, it helps a lot because it means more people get to see this video, and YouTube lets me keep making videos. So please, if you're watching the video, please put a like up there. I will definitely do one on Shannon Tweed. She is from my home province. Shannon Tweed is from Newfoundland, and I actually, there's a couple of times, so we'll be looking at some of her stuff. This one here, by the way, if you think this is like an erotic one or something, it's not. But it's definitely one to look into. This is an actual documentary. David Friedman's stories are utterly priceless, and you're gonna want it, and it's gonna make you want to look into this a bit more. All right, I mentioned Bruno Mattei, and Kim Release the Forbidden Fruit series. That's true. I forgot about that. Hey there, Bavilion. Welcome, man. We're talking about called Some After Dark tonight. So this is going to be some different stuff. I'm doing a watch list for people. Bruno Mattei stuff. There's one of the Bruno Mattei Intervision titles, The Jail Woman Sale. Also, I will be looking to, I don't know if I got them. I'm going to see if I can find the Bruno Mattei zombie films as well. We're going to look into Mattei. So yes, we're going to have like the adult stuff. We're also going to have some of this stuff as well. I like the new name, actually. It's really cool. Pavilion. I actually really like that. So both your names are cool. So you're better at naming stuff than I am. But call it Some After Dark, man. I got a feeling you're going to be okay with that. Yeah, Lucio Fulci. We're going to definitely be diving into Fulci, some of his stuff. We are going to dive into The Devil's Honey. And this is a great Fulci film that doesn't get enough credit. If you got the chance to check this movie out, please check this out. It's definitely one of the better like later Fulci films. It's not like a horror film. It is different. And if Fulci had the money to make more stuff in this direction, I really think it could have revitalized Fulci's career. So, but definitely worth checking into. Devil's Honey, 100% recommend that one. We're also going to look into Soledad Miranda and her work, especially her work with Jess Franco. She unfortunately had she went from us way too soon. Saxophone, same again. Cat in the Brain, that's actually a good one. If you've never seen She Killed in Ecstasy or Vampire Lesbos, these are actually really good films. I'm going on that hill. I will say I really did like both of these films. Who was the guy that directed Amsterdam? Dick Maas directed Amsterdam, and a few other films like The Lift and stuff like that. Yeah, Eric's right. She is a gorgeous, gorgeous girl. If you've never seen the Soledad Miranda films, and these are the way they're still put out, so if you can still get yourself these here from Severin, look the way these editions are done. Let me just open up one of these for you, just to show you. Just look at this. Like, no... This one is directed by Jess Franco. So if you saw Vampire Lesbos, that is a Jess Franco film. So that's one that you've seen. That's actually one of my favorites. As far as I know, I think so. Yeah. You guys can let me know if I'm incorrect about that. But I think they are. And what's neat about this one, like this one right here, for instance, has a CD with it. So you get like a CD soundtrack for 3 Jess Franco films. For Vampire Lesbos, from She Killed in Ecstasy, and from The Devil Came from Aveska. Give it another chance. Vampire Lesbos, I think, is one of his better films. And I do think that there is that it's a better film than Count Dracula. But we'll get into that, because we are going to be looking into Jess Franco stuff. And I have a feeling that's going to take way more than one video to do. Saw de Miranda may actually end up getting her own. Bavilion, you really do. Severin has been putting out some killer stuff lately. Of course, I don't have it here right now, but I'm not quite sure if Al Adamson is going to go in the After Dark series. Some of his films, but his Stewart films might go in the After Dark series. But I plan on doing a call to cinema. Well, I'm still working on the name, but it's kind of a Z-grade cult type series that we'll do. And that's going to do with things like with Al Adamson, with movies like Things, with Nail Gun Massacre and stuff like that. So we're going to dive into that as well. One from AGFA, and that's definitely going to be here, and that is Lady Street Fighter. If you've never seen Lady Street Fighter, it is definitely an experience. It is one to check out. There are 2 films. There's Return to Lady Street Fighter. The original film came out in 77. The sequel to Lady Street Fighter, The Night Crew. Oh, that's not bad, actually. The Night Crew's not bad. Came out in 1990. So it was never released, the unreleased sequel, so it'll be definitely worth checking out. And if you've never checked out a AGFA title, it's been delayed, Joseph, until May. So May 26th is a street date. People that pre-ordered it should be getting it a week or 2, hopefully, before that date. They've gotten in some of the swag, but they haven't got the boxes in yet. That's what's delayed it. The sets, the movies are all ready to go. They just got to get the set. Anyway, here's another cover for Lady Street Fighter. If you wanted to see a Renee Harmon from Frozen Scream get nude a lot, do a action scenes, fighting scenes, and talk kind of like the guy from The Room. Oh, we're definitely going into the Manuel series. I'm a huge fan of the Manuel series, and we'll do what do I think of Japanese? I actually like them, but they're different. That's when I said the Nakatsu ones, Brian, that's the ones I'm talking about, the Nakatsu, the Pinky Violence series. So we'll be going into that as well. We'll be doing videos on that as well. So there's going to be something here, hopefully for everybody's interest. If one video doesn't hit you, the next one will. And remember this too. After I talk about something on a video, if I could talk about Jess Franco, I could talk about Nakatsu, other stuff could come into the video as well. And if you miss out on that, you may miss out on some cool stuff when one of my alley swerve things that I do in my videos. A lot of Vinegar Syndrome. Now I got some Vinegar Syndrome stuff coming up. Hopefully you grab this title here, because yes, we are going to definitely talk about Vice Academy and the works of Rick Sloan. So if you're a fan of Rick Sloan, if you like the Vice Academy stuff, the Hobgoblins, all that type of stuff, we are going to get into that. If you missed out on Vice Academy, this was not one to miss out on, guys. This was one of the best ones for this whole series. Definitely check out the Vice Academy 1 to 3. We will be talking about it in the Cult Cinema After Dark. Now let's go into some Arrow DVDs. It's Christmas. That one is out of print right now, actually, Javed, unfortunately. Yeah, definitely very like Vice Academy is, when they say softcore, that's very like later on the softcore type stuff. It's different than a lot of people think it's going to be. Yeah, it'll have like the nudity, but most of the nudity, like in a movie like Vice Academy, is really kind of like just, yeah, exactly, kind of like Police Academy, just a little bit more sleazy. That's the right Vice Academy, uh, and cheesy, and it's fun, and it's like silly, goofy humor, which I enjoy. My After Dark videos, including this one here, are going to be big, are hopefully going to be big Super Chat videos, and hopefully, eventually over time, Super Chat's going to take off for me a bit, so I'll be able to do my podcast down the road, because that's what a lot of this is going towards, is make the podcast. The longer that takes to get off, the longer this takes to get off. Is the Angel set still? It is actually. I definitely recommend the Angel set series. All Into Death. Yes, we are going to definitely talk about Nico Mastrox's All Into Death. It's definitely a different film. And there is a Blu-ray of this one. If the DVD is still available, I recommend the DVD because it does have features on it that the Blu-ray does not have. If not, grab the Blu-ray. Very cool little Nico Mastrox's film. Very different, very unique. He's made a lot of different films, but All Into Death is definitely one of the ones that stood out. It's strange. It's unique. It's kind of his boundary-pushing film, and one of those that it's an odd film. We're going to be looking into Tinto Brass, which I mentioned before. So some of the Tinto Brass releases to check out on Arrow Video are ones like Frivolous Lola, which actually is a cool one. Not my favorite though. Frivolous Lola is not my favorite. We'll be looking at a classic, The Key, and if you haven't seen The Key, right there, Jabba, then this one is a Tinto Brass one that you do have to see. I would recommend watching it before. When you see, no, when I'll let you know before I do a Tinto Brass one. One of the movies I would recommend checking out and talking about. Think of this like a book club, basically, except with films. The Key is definitely one to look into. The Key has a lot of kind of cool history behind it too, because the actress in the film, she married a politician afterwards, and he tried to get the movie, like he tried to get the movie like banned, basically. Yeah, Frank Finley's in this one here as well. So yeah, we got some big actors in this one. So definitely worth checking out. The Key, all these here, by the way, have like alternative artwork on here, which some I can't show. Fancy Sex, nice. How did we get into? I almost regret we got into a police academy, which almost makes me regret bringing it. One of the classics and the first Tinto Brass movie that I ever saw was All Ladies Do It, and this is the Tinto Brass film that made me really get into Tinto Brass's work, and it's amazing the stuff that he came from. Now this one here, like it says here, loosely inspired by the Mozart opera Così fan tutte. The title is a direct translation. The film tackles a crucial question: why should women enjoy the same sexual freedoms that they have long had to tolerate in their men? This is a really, really good film. And Tinto Brass was definitely ahead of his time. That's not going to be the only Tinto Brass we're going to look at, don't worry. Exactly. Caligula's there as well. I don't have that one right here with me, but Caligula definitely. And Private I'll mention in a minute, actually. Also, hey, Michael, I'm doing a new series. What year was The Key released? The Key was released, I think, in the 70s. Doesn't say here. But definitely in the 70s, sometime in the 70s. I'm doing a new series, Michael. Basically, we're going to be looking into in the called Cinema After Dark. Is it 80s really? Early? It can't be like a more. It seems like an early 80s. Maybe I'm wrong, because I remember watching Cheeky. It was a 90s one. I thought, well, this had to be an 80s film. And Call It Cinema After Dark is going to deal with a lot of kind of different cool stuff, whether it be Jess Franco, Tinto Brass, some Mondo Macabre. We're going to do episodes on Solid Miranda, Jamie Gillis. You know, you're probably right, Javid, to be honest with you. And we're going to look into the Picorama series from Vinegar Syndrome. And I am going to give you some Picораmas that I think should be in everyone's collection as well. If you like or are interested in any type of adult cinema, you have some good stuff there. Obviously, from what you're seeing here, call it cinema after dark, way more than adult cinema. But actually, you can put that, have that stuff in there. I'm looking to get. There's gonna be some cool stuff. I don't know if I've seen that documentary. I gotta check it out. Picораmas are XXX, Javid, so know that ahead of time. But they do have some good ones, and Picораmas deal with the 70s and early 80s era, and often they'll be dealing with a lot of more story-centric ones. So I'll be going into a lot more of the story-centric stuff. If you want like the really like the this is gonna be this is gonna be fun. Yeah, XXX means hardcore. Now, a lot of people will automatically stop right there and see XXX and say, okay, well, I can't watch this. This is going to be, it's just hardcore. There's not going to be any storyline. No, that's not true. The adult films that were done back in the 70s and the early 80s were heavily done with a story base to it, so that they could actually do a hardcore one for their adult cinemas, and they could do a softcore version of it with the adult scenes taken out for regular cinemas, and they often had big actors in it, like big actors for the day, like Cameron Mitchell, and guys like that. So I'm going to try to convince you. I will swing you over to this side of being able to watch some of these as actual cinema. That was one of the key reasons actually when I started this. And here are a couple of Vinegar Cinemas that are adult cinema, but some I think are actually really good story-wise. First off is Jamie Gillis, who in Dracula Sucks, which is actually probably the first adult film that I ever saw. I rented it by accident when I was a kid, and they rented it to me by accident. I think Jamie Gillis actually does good as Dracula in this film. I was very surprised. There's definitely humorous aspects to Dracula Sucks, but like John Leslie was mentioned earlier. I remember that one actually, the Clockwork Orange ripoff. I had that actually on VHS, on a big box VHS. Kay Parker's in this one, Paul Thomas, Mike Ranger, Bill Marigold. Yeah, this is a really star-studded cast for this type of stuff. And not just that, actually. Is this the one that has... Yeah, Reggie Nalder. Oh, yeah. Reggie Nalder's in this one. And if the name... What's a Clockwork Orgy is one that I saw. Just to be honest with you. This one here is Reggie Nalder. And if Reggie Nalder's name kind of sounds familiar, you're not quite sure who that is. Did you watch Salem's Lot? Because Salem's Lot, the original Salem's Lot, had a really creepy looking vampire in it. And that vampire was played by Reggie Nalder, who was in this film right here. Randy Spears was like, he did a lot of that stuff. Now let's look into some of the big adult-oriented titles from Vinegar Syndrome that I would definitely be looking into and that I'm going to definitely recommend to you to check out. So first off, obviously, if you can find either one of these, they're out of print right now, but look online. Some people don't like having adult titles showing, or they're worried like the scenes or pictures, whatever. If you want to get them and get them like looking all classy, then 5 films, 5 years. There were 2 sets put out with Golden Age Erotica, Volume 1 and Volume 3, right? Yeah, Volume 3. Volume 1 is over, if you got to choose one of these, Volume 1 over Volume 3 for sure. Both of them are great. Dracula Sucks is on Volume 3, for instance. But Volume 1 has some good story ones. If you want story-oriented ones, then you're going to want like this one. Like Dixie Ray Hollywood Star is one that honestly is the non-adult one is probably even better. It's actually a good film. You get like Hot and Saucy Pizza Girls, which is actually a funny film, whether it be adult or not on there. A lot of really cool stuff there. Actually, I watched the Brawl for Arwen Dots. It's really, really good. They were actually, that's the thing, Vivian. They were limited edition. They were just done like they let people know there's only how many did they do of these? They did 2,500 each of these here, and I think yeah, and they let people know okay these weren't going to be reprinted. They're only doing them. They did them for the 5-year anniversary. Um, they put out movies that initially weren't going to get Blu-ray releases. They did remasters on complete remasters. Um, if people are really interested in some of these films, then some of the DVDs actually have more features than these do have on there. Amberlin for life, like you, K-Dog. Definitely worth checking out. We will be doing, and what was going to initially start and be the very first Cult of Cinema video was we were going to talk about the Taboo series of films. And I got 1 to 3 here, but I also need part 4. The first 4 of these were actually shown in regular theaters, so you got to see these in theaters. Very interesting series of films, but I got a lot to look through when it comes to this. There are like no less than 4 audio commentaries on the first Taboo film. There's some video interviews on Taboo 2 and 3. I got to watch the films, take notes, the stuff like that. You know, I definitely want to dive deep into this. Sarah K. Parker was the big star of the first one. She was British. I never knew she was British. Actually, I should have known. And I'll probably look into the Rialto report. Like I know they did an interview with Kay Parker on there as well, because I do want to get into. I want to bring these to you. I want to bring this to you in a way that hopefully they've never been brought to you before. I still never Mirror Mirror. That's a really good one, Eric. That is a really good one, and I haven't seen that one in ages. We will be looking at and I forgot to bring it over here, but we'll definitely be looking at the Pretty Peaches trilogy as well. That is going to be one that deserves its own video, and that's going to be a fun one. Oh, Green Door, yeah, back in the day. I haven't seen it in ages, man. Did they ever get a Blu-ray of Green Door? There's a few like that I haven't seen Blu-rays of. I'm not sure if Deep Throat got a Blu-ray or not, if Green Door did. But I know like, because was that the brothers that did that one? What's their names again? But we'll dive into some of the directors, some of the actors as well. Skinflex is actually a pretty cool one. Cloud9, Brute Reynolds. I'll definitely check it out. We'll talk about Traci Lords. Obviously, we'll talk about most of her more mainstream stuff. Traci Lords, by the way, for people that aren't like most people do know, she was an actress, and she started as an adult actress. She moved over. She's one of the most successful people to move over from adult movies to mainstream cinema. The pool bar actually cleaned the pool. What was the big thing about her is that she went in, unfortunately, underage. So when it came out, it was leaked that she had been making films while she was underage. She appeared in Crybaby. Like Crybaby's one I remember. Anyway, that was a big one for her. And a great film, actually, a really great film. But was that it came out that she was underage, and all of a sudden the industry was in turmoil. Her movies had to be immediately taken off the rack, of course, because then they hit into like into illegal territory. So literally, like I was her age, and I was growing up, and like we would get the adult films as we were kids, and not knowing that the girl in it was our age, which is insane. So they all got, of course, taken off. Only one was made after she became of age, which was called Tracy, I Love You. That one was, ironically, she had all the control over. So there are thoughts and rumors across the industry. Some think that she outed herself, and for certain reasons. Other people think that there's other things. We will definitely dive into the Traci Lords story, and we'll talk a lot about that, and we'll discuss and debate what you think and what your thoughts are on her work. Her music is great. I like her music actually. She's done some. One of her songs actually is on the track of Mortal Kombat, and it's actually a pretty good one. So it's definitely worth checking out. We'll look at Roberta Findlay. You guys know A Woman's Torment is one of my probably under. Hopefully not. Sadly, Kubrick. Unfortunately, there might be. I would stay 10 feet away and then jump 10 feet back farther from those films. But I know that some of the films that she was in were later put out again. They just cut her scenes out of them. And sometimes they would put like another actress in there. Christy Canyon, Ashton Gear, I like them, yeah. Tenement, like there's a lot of great Roberta Findlay stuff to look into, and it's not all adult stuff, but definitely worth checking out. That's. I'm sure there's probably more than that, Dave. Unfortunately, I'm sure somewhere out there there's the whole works from or something like that, but I don't recommend it. Now, some of her films were put out later on without her in them. They would cut her out. They'd have like just someone else do that scene, or sometimes they just leave the scene out altogether. But a lot of times they would have to have someone else do the scene because remember these were story oriented back then. Andy Milligan's Fleshpot on 42nd Street. This is about the most unerotic X-rated film you're ever going to see, but still a great film and one that I recommend for anybody that is a screenwriter and wants to know how to write dialogue, realistic dialogue. Andy Milligan's Fleshpot on 42nd Street is one of the go-tos for something like that. And we'll do some like basically behind-the-scenes cinema stuff as well. I'm working on a lot of stuff right now for the channel, and hopefully a lot of this can come to fruition. I'm going to do my best. If the Call to Cinema stuff is something that regularly gets demonetized and the Super Chat thing doesn't work out for the Call to Cinema, then I'm going to have to limit it. Or I'm going to have to put it on Patreon. And I don't want to do that. So we're going to see how that goes. So fingers crossed, guys, that this goes okay. One that I recently picked up during like when I won the Vinegar Syndrome coupon is Mascara. This one is actually Roberta Findlay. She didn't make this film, but she is the she was the photographer on it. And it was done by Henry Prashad. Great film. I mean, I sat down to watch this one because of Roberta Findlay, and I just got into it, and I started listening to the commentary as well. I'll be honest with you, I don't watch like a lot of like. I've seen the After Porn Ends ones. There's 3 of them right now. So yeah, 3 of them. I've seen all 3 of them. I like the way that they go, and I like the fact that they do some stuff, but I find that sometimes it can go a little dark. Matinee Island, I don't have that one. I was looking at that one actually, Eric. I got a feeling you're going to be a regular viewer for these. You know your stuff. That's just some of the stuff coming out for that. Now there are 2 more sets to look at. One of them is great if you got it. If not, it's going to be a heck of a hard find. And I was asked about this one. Have I seen I did. I watched Nymphomaniac. It was okay. I mean, I wasn't big on the ending of the film. And I do think it was a little imbalanced. But it is what that director normally does. It definitely is in his style. I think people that went in sometimes maybe expecting a little bit more, it'd be a little bit raunchier. But that's not exactly what you're going to get with him. He's definitely going to go on the more disturbing aspect of it, which definitely shows for the ending of the film and definitely for the second part of it. But it's something that I might look into. That entire director's work, actually. So obviously, Nymphomaniac's only one of his films, but he has done some super dark and really kind of like just, the House of Jack built, for instance, stuff that definitely sticks with you. Actually, I don't think so. I mean, I don't think it's that erotic of a film, actually, on Nymphomaniac. But maybe in the lengthwise. But there are ones, like, that's the thing. We're going to dive into some of the stuff that some people, like, because I don't. It's okay to get some. I want to get people people that know the erotic films, but my goal, my big goal here, is to hopefully interest people that would normally not even think about some of this type of cinema, whether it be even like the silly, the night eye stuff or body chemistry and stuff like that, and get their interest piqued as well, to show them that there's more than what's out there right now, which is a bunch of clips and stuff like that. That there was a time when this was actually cinema, and it counted, and it mattered. And the 70s and the early 80s was the biggest time for that. So we'll get into a lot of that, and you'll see there's some actual acting, some actual writing, some great cinematography that are in some of these films, and we'll get into some of the soundtracks. I want to do like one talking about some of the soundtracks of some of the early cinema as well. We're going to talk about Russ Meyer, guys. So if you got this set, kudos. This is an amazing set. Either way, try to get your hands on some Russ Meyer stuff. There's some great stuff on here, including a documentary on Russ Meyer that was done by Jonathan Ross, right? Yeah, Jonathan Ross. It was part of his incredibly strange film show episodes. So they did one on Russ Meyer. Definitely worth checking out. There's around 19 films on this set here. Everything from the More Soties, which is an early nude cutie stuff, to Lorna and Mudhoney, to Vixen, which got into his more socially aware stuff, to things like Cherry, Harry, and Raquel, his Mondo stuff with Pandora Peaks, and Mondo Topless, and things like Vixens, Super Vixens, Beneath the Veil, the Alter Vixen, the Up, and the Up films as well. So we're going to be looking at the entire work of Russ Meyer, whether that's going to take one video or two videos or three videos, I'm not sure, but that's going to be something that we're definitely going to do as well. What's my favorite Russ Meyer film? Vixen comes to mind. I'd have to rewatch them, but Vixen has always come across with Erica Gavin as one of my personal favorite Russ Meyer films. Cherry, Harry, and Raquel always sticks up there as well. You know, Charles Napier's in that one. But there's just something with Vixen that's always stuck with me. And it is a different film, definitely a unique film. Russ Meyer would have these films with these big breasted women and that type of stuff in there as well. But he would put, there'd be more to his films. They would be beautifully shot, wonderfully done like that, and the stories were if you really watch some of the Russ Meyer's cinema, it's deeper than it looks. It's deeper than it seems. Definitely stuff that we're going to look into is Russ Meyer's work. And it's going to be a joy and a pleasure to do this. Now, a lot of these videos aren't coming tomorrow, so just so you know. I got collection videos coming up. I'm doing a collection series that I'm doing, going to be doing next week. Can I show the photo again? Of course. Everybody likes the one. Russ Meyer's collection. This is unfortunately out of print. It's a hard one to get. But if you can find it for a decent price, it's definitely worth it. There were two versions of it done. There was the original version was a huge box set, and it had everyone each with their own DVD case. But I think killed the 70s style of adult cinema. What do I think killed it, Dave? I'll get into that deeper down the road, but straight to home video, hands down. Straight home video, when it didn't have to be shot on film anymore, and they didn't worry so much about getting it into the theaters. Because all of a sudden, then you could have cheaper stuff just shot on tape. Anybody could do it. Story became less of a thing, and it was just, and then you got the compilation videos and stuff like that. So you had people that were watching it at home, and they were just oh, we're fast forward to the good parts. We're the art of the story, and the cinematography, and that kind of, it dwindled down. It kind of ended up losing its way, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I would say if anything, VHS shot on video, tape basically, not being shot on film stock anymore, was definitely, I would consider, one of the big reasons for the lessening of the quality of adult cinema. Now there is still some good stuff that's put out there, but a lot of it, like like Brian even jokingly says, best pizza pie performance goes. Yeah, so that was one of the killers for it. Of course, there's movies out there like Faster Pussycat Kill Kill that were put out by Russ Myers. Mountaintopus is here. Now, yeah, there's two versions of the set. The one that was done like this, and one that was done like a bigger, thicker one, but had less films. Choking your nose? If there's anything that I miss or I say and I go too fast, stop me, Brian. It is. I mean, like the quality, like the difference in quality is baffling when it comes to the films. Like I like a story. Like I was a writer. Story's key. Story is paramount for me. I love the picture, but I gotta have the story. I like the Valiant comics. You know, they focus on story over art. So the earlier stuff really did some Hollywood Hot Tubs. I'm trying to remember that one. Called Epics, by the way, is a great company for this type of stuff. They've put out a lot of good stuff, but one of my all-time favorites is the Tinto Brass Maestro of Erotic Cinema set. This is fantastic. It has Cheeky, Black Angel, Private, and Monomore. Plus, it has a documentary, which is really like a 2.5 or 3 hour long interview of with Tinto Brass just talking. But every single one of those discs has a really cool. Oh, please don't let this one be Morocco. It might be. Has a really good making of featurette on here. So these are excellent films. And Cheeky is a really good one too. It's a film that, and this is the highest praise I can give the movie Cheeky, that looks and plays like a 70s era film, but it's done in the 90s. And I was really surprised to hear and to find out that Cheeky was made in the 90s, because it plays like a much better film that would have been made in the 70s. A much more, that's the Tinto Brass Maestro of Erotic Cinema. Maestro of Erotic Cinema. Maestro of Erotic Cinema. Paprika is another good one put out by Tinto Brass that was also put out by Called Epics as well. A lot of these were put out singular, but if you can find yourself the set, it has like a booklet with it too. Definitely worth checking out. But there you go. That is a start on the. That's a primer. There's a list right there. If you watch them this from the beginning, or if you want, go back and check early on, I gave you a whole list of films and a whole list of topics that we're going to be diving into. Would you stop sliding down there? I've shown you Mondo Macabros. I've shown you Vinegar's Turner. I've shown you Called Epics. I've shown you Arrow titles, Impulse, Mill Creek. We've looked at everything from Andy Sedaris to Jess Franco to Tinto Brass. So we talked about some of the big actresses and directors and some of the people kind of behind the scenes that we're going to look at. We're going to be looking into the rise and fall of adult cinema. Was it Citizen Kane and pornographic titles? That's a good. Let me think on that one, actually, because that is an amazing question. Oh, Caligula. I didn't bring it over here, Joseph, but Caligula is a Tinto Brass one. That's definitely going to be in the mix as well. We'll be looking into Caligula, and we're going to look a bit into some of the behind-the-scenes stuff for that one as well. So, obviously, we're going to be talking about the producer of the film too, the guy that definitely considered himself an artist. A lot of the cases, K-Dog, unfortunately, that's the case. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not prudish or anything like that. There's nothing at all wrong with that. It's just, this is a call to cinema, so I'm definitely going to be dealing with more of the cinematic aspects of it and a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff. I want to learn things while I make this. The Jackie Collins ones, the movies, are based on the books, the Joan Collins ones. I hope so, but the thing is that they're American exclusives, and every time Kino Lorber has a sale, I go to try to buy them, and they're not there. Well, yeah, I'm not big on it right now. I don't watch a lot of it right now, so I wouldn't know. Um, I am going to try and find some story-oriented ones, so I can have like at least a bit of a working knowledge when it comes to that. But it's not really my bag like the newer stuff. Story is big when it comes to me. Story is big, and if it looks cheap, it's like. Well, I think it always was hopefully kind of like sometimes, well, not always meant to do it, obviously, because some of them there are actually, what's the word that I want to use? They wanted to challenge you with some of the stuff that they did back then. They wanted to actually make stories. They worked hard behind the scenes, and a lot of the reason that a lot of that happened is because the people that were working on the films and working on the scenes behind the scenes at the time. We're talking about a time when people could have gotten arrested, thrown into jail, beaten up, ostracized for working in that industry. There were people that were trying their hardest to make the best possible films that they could of that type. So there was a lot of artistic, really, and I don't mean like in the oh look, this is an art film kind of sleazy type way, but in an honest to God, serious, like look at Behind the Green Door, worked to make some artistically done films, and really push the limits in the no, I don't mean just in the erotic sense, but push the limits in the art sense, and what you could do to challenge your perception of what one of these films could be. Yeah, like what now? So you just go on a website and that type of thing. The good thing is that you can find some of these films that I'm showing. That I'm going to talk about some of the adult films on some of the websites, but with right now, like like a lot of stuff, like amateur stuff and all that, is kind of big, and like websites that like kind of like cater towards certain things or kinks or stuff like that. But that's not the stuff I'm going to be getting into here. I'm not going to be getting into like the kinks or any of that type of stuff. I'm going to be looking at films and films. Most of the films I'm going to look at are movies that actually made it to the to theater. So obviously, when I talk about the Taboo franchise, although I may mention the later like films in the series that went on for a long time, I will be focusing on the first four because those are the ones that hit theaters. Those are the ones that have an arc and a storyline that what the later ones don't so much. The only really kind of like caveat to that I will get into is the, as far as I know, may have been the first miniseries like done for adult cinema, or I think it was straight. I might have been straight to. I'm not sure if it made it to cinema or not. Was the American Taboo series. So we will definitely look into that on YouTube. 42nd Street. I gotta write that down. I gotta write down. There's a couple names here I gotta write down tonight that we'll look into. So there you go, guys. That's what the Cult Cinema After Dark is going to deal. We are going to deep dive, so you don't even have to like some of that stuff. Films like Antichrist, Nymphomaniac, Ken Park. I wouldn't. I honestly don't consider Antichrist or Nymphomaniac to be really pornographic films, but they will be films that we talked about on here, basically because they are still adult films. In ways, like there's certain, like Donnie Darko in certain ways can be considered more of an adult film, just by some of the stuff that it talks about. Rocks of Friede, like Canyons, for instance. Canyons would definitely be one. Some in Europe, definitely. There is one girl too. God, she was in Thriller. God, a cruel picture. Well, what's her name again? Come on, guys. Somebody give it to me. She did a few. Christina, it's killing me. It's on the tip of my tongue. So we will, her anyway. We'll look into her stuff as well. Evil Angel. They did, yeah, there was an Evil Angel. They did like two, like the Evil Angel, and there's like another one they did as well. Vivid, I know, was big back in that day as well. But we're going to be looking more into some of the films, some of the cinematic ones, and we'll look into some of the companies and we're going to look at some of the actors, talk about them, talk about not just about their work, but the things that they may have done outside of that. Uh, I'm Rocco Siffredi's guy that was really cinematic, uh, but controversial too. So we may get into some of that as well along the way. But there you go. Hopefully that gives you a roundabout idea of what I'm taking on here. Uh, this is going to take a lot of work for me. I'm coming on here, and my videos, now, this has often been like something that people that just come into don't understand. Um, I do a lot of videos, and a lot of it seems like a lot of stuff is kind of off the cuff, but that's so not the case. There's a lot of like watching and note taking and rewatching and watching again that I do to make these videos happen. Um, so yeah, Madison. I love Madison actually. Madison was in Evil Tunes. That was one of her, I guess, one of her big crossover films, which I think was Fred Olen Ray. I have to look back, but I think Evil Tunes maybe Fred Olen Ray. So you got your first primer video. If you're interested in the cult of cinema after dark, I'm going to be putting a lot of like work and heart into this. If sometimes you can help out anyway with the super chat donations, highly appreciate it. Tonight was a bit of a bust when it comes to that, so that's a bit disheartening. Hopefully that doesn't mean people aren't excited about this here one. Hopefully it's just the day and the time that's done. But it's something that I'm going to try to put a lot of work into to make one of my best sub-series on my channel. So there you go. That is the crux of it all. I do this for you, and hopefully you guys will. Hopefully this will do well. You guys will like it, and I'm very excited about it. It's one of the things that's excited me most with my channel in a long time. So tonight, a bit of a disappointment in a way, but still I'm happy that we got this done and we got this part of it out there. So hopefully more people will see this and they'll understand exactly what we're going for, and understand that this isn't just like an X-rated thing or anything. We're going to be dealing with a lot of different. We're going to cross over, and we're going to deep dive. Any British films like 12 Songs? I've seen a few actually. There's a lot that I have to see. I know Deep End, which is a personal all-time favorite of mine, is something I'm definitely going to promote sometime too, because I think that film, it's not an adult film, but it is a film that unfortunately has not been seen by enough people, and it really deserves to be seen. We're going down the rabbit hole. Yeah, no, you liked it, didn't you, Jabba? That's a favorite of mine. Deanna Dores, yeah, she's older in that one too, but she still does a great job. She almost got a predatory sense during that film. Anyway, I'm Aaron. This is my movie library. You are the call to cinema. You guys rock. And this series is going to be coming as frequently as I can do them. I will be hitting up the call to cinema after dark. I will be going towards doing them, like especially if they start getting demonetized a lot. I will be heavily pushing the super chat. So I hope that doesn't annoy you. But it's going to be important because a lot of the stuff that I'm working on, whether it be this one or the director series, is moving towards what I'm doing. And that is, I want to do a podcast, and I want to have a lot of you guys on that podcast as guests. So have a great evening. Right now for me, It is time for tea, and I will see you again soon.